Oh, journey with me a while, yeah. As I journey on my road alone with him, come see all that he has for me. 'Cause I love him so, I give my heart, my all and all to you. Journey with me for a while and see. You can believe and trust him at his word. He will perform it and you'll see. Yeah. Hey, cyber world. Let me tell y'all something. Some days it is so much for me to get in here. Everything goes wrong at the very last minute. Excuse me. As you can see, I'm still getting over this awful cold. The very last minute at 9:30, the whole sound system click, cut out. Won't click back in. I click it back in. You got to bring the whole thing down and pull it back up again. La vida zay. I'm used to it. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. As you can see, I'm getting over a cold. I'm not sure if it's a cold or if it's allergies because I'm in a different region now. And, you know, for allergy sufferers, it's unfortunately something we have to suffer with. You know, when you go to place, there are some places I cannot live. You know, I can't live in the mountainous regions at all. I can't breathe there. Sometimes in DC, I can't live there. I mean, I've had times when I've lost my voice for entire weeks just because of the allergens and hearing as well. And you're taking those allergy pills every day. People like me do better at seafaring regions, things like that. But anyway, so some days it's tough getting in here. It's one thing after the other. Trump's infamous new White House ballroom and bunker has been scrapped by a federal judge and the National Trust Preservation Committee. It was also discovered that the $400 million in ballroom donor money has either disappeared or simply never existed. Poof! Like a magic trick. That's a special GOP magic trick. Poof! How to make money disappear. Poof! No traces of it. Poof! 400 million. Could you imagine Obama doing that? Any of this? Yeah. Ain't no Christian in that. Because if you can't imagine a black man being able to do the same thing, then that means the system is not fair and equitable. True story. I know you guys saw the dad who killed his daughter in Texas. I'm assuming you saw it. He was a Trump supporter, Trumpite, MAGA guy in Texas. It's always these guys. I would say it's a psychosis, but I think it's just a personality trait, a characteristic trait. I have no idea what's wrong with them. I would never put some orange man I never met above my own child. You shot and killed your child, and you said it was an accident. Gun lover who has tons of guns doesn't know his gun is not on the safety, and doesn't know that you don't point a loaded gun, didn't check to see if it was loaded, pointed it point blank at your daughter and shot her in the chest because she disagreed with you about Trump. And they didn't charge him. That's in Prosper, Texas, prompting a manslaughter investigation. I would guess so. You should have locked him up that night. You all really don't care about your women, do you? You feign all this protect our women, You hate your women. You really do hate your women. You don't mind them being molested, raped, sex trafficked. You don't care what happens to them. And you'll put a man you ain't never seen before in your life who wouldn't give you a nickel if his life depended on it. Over your own seed. Obviously, everyone shouldn't be a parent. As I've said before, it's amazing to me how everything else requires a license. But two completely insane people with 5 minutes of time can create an entire human being. Shudder the thought. Some children never stood a chance. Yeah. Anyway, her name, Lucy Harrison. She's from Warrington, Cheshire. She was shot in the chest. That was on January the 10th. That's just crazy. Now my remote thing here disappears sometime. Anyway, they're still investigating it. Chris Harrison is his name. The coroner said, the coroner said to shoot her through the chest while she was standing would have required him to have been pointing the gun at his daughter without checking for bullets and pulling the trigger. And it was an accident. Yeah, sure you're right. Okay. A gun enthusiast? You're around guns all your life? I never point a gun at a person, a human being. Even handling it around. No safety, whatever. Okay, we're going to believe that. You took your own... And the thing that gets me is it happened about a half hour before they were supposed to go catch their flight. Anyway, he took his daughter by the hand, led her from the kitchen to his ground floor bedroom, where he kept a Glock semi-automatic handgun in his bedside cabinet. Before you shot your daughter, point blank, range in the chest, because she disagreed with the pedophilia. And I believe his response to her that was so egregious was that he has 2 other daughters or some mess like that. I can't verify that. That could be pretty unbelievable. He says, as I lifted the gun to show her, this is a gun enthusiast now, I suddenly heard a loud bang. I did not understand what had happened. And Lucy immediately, a gun enthusiast. I don't know what happened. I didn't hear that loud bang. With the gun in your hand, you don't know what happened. He told police who attended at the scene. We got it out to have a look at. No, we didn't. You got it out to point it at your child. Just as I picked it up, it went off. Well, it's called involuntary. You're still responsible for the death of your own child. Wow. And we all know President Trump, to kick off Black History Month, decided it was okay to portray Barack and Michelle Obama as monkeys. I thought that was particularly telling. But anyway, so to come back after that, because they just ate him alive, he came back on that with I had black friends, all posted all the pictures of it. It was really funny. I was like, this is, wow. It was funny. It was just hilarious. Anyway, I told you last week, all over the world, other countries are just putting America to shame because they are dealing with the people in their governments and legislatures who are caught up in the Epstein files and things of that nature. And they're beginning to oust them, fire them, put them out, etc., etc. Meanwhile, here in America, we're continuing to cover up, hide, make excuses for, etc., etc. Well, it's interesting to me because a Polish Epstein files investigation reached a fever pitch with the focus shifting from general threats to specific organizations. They're even going after the organizations in these other countries. The Prime Minister Tusk warns that the KGB likely possesses material against many leaders still active today. That is why this is so dangerous. It's not just about power and corruption and rape and all of that. You don't realize how much jeopardy this puts your country in. Because this man is now, hey, pretty lady, this man is now vulnerable to anybody who has information on him. He is vulnerable to blackmail, and it's as clear as the nose on your face. They have a lot to hold over his head. Why you think he's struggling and fighting so hard? 38,000 times your name is there. It's the Trumpstein files. You can call it what you want. It's the Trumpstein files. Blessed morning to you, lady. Happy Valentine's Day to all the beautiful ladies out there and all the wonderful gents. Because Valentine's Day is about love, not just love of male and female. I used to always, every Valentine's Day, go over there to my mom with something good she liked. You know, whether it was candy or candy in a card or flowers and candy in a card or some blue crabs or something. I'd always give her something. So, yeah, Valentine's Day can be special for many reasons. Anyway, that means the KGB likely has information. And I saw this. I don't know if you all have seen this movie called Fall of the House of Usher. It's on Netflix. It's called Fall of the House of Usher. And I kept thinking, Jesus, this might be Fall of the House of Trump, because good God, it's about people, rich people, basically making a deal with the devil, and the debt came due, and there were all these things that happened. But it was interesting to me, you know, that they were so flippant about their very souls. It was crazy. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of, and that's all I could think about. You know, when someone is that vulnerable, that makes America vulnerable. You're vulnerable. Wow. Anyone who has that information can get anything they want out of that man. Do you not at least see or fear or understand that much yet? This is for your own sakes that you should do this. That they may have film, video. Anyway, in the House of Usher, the son decided he was going to start this club. And it was about debauchery, basically, hedonism. And they all came in, and you could find any type of debauchery you wanted in there, drugs, sex, whatever. And they were going to have the water come out, sort of like a baby oil thing, and shower down on everyone. But his dad was such a creep and a criminal that he had stored toxic chemicals in the tanks above, and he thought it was water, and illegally had the water come down. Of course, it melted everyone's skin off. But the thing that was, you know, weird to me was that in the back, he said, this club ain't about us just having a good time and me getting the club. This club is about leverage, because there were rooms everywhere where the rich and famous could go in. They had the little masks on and have sex, any type of sex they wanted. But they were being filmed. And he was keeping that leverage, gonna keep all of it. And that's all that the Trumpstein Island is to me. Leverage that someone else has over rich, powerful, greedy people who will do anything to keep those things. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Qualls. Hey, DJ. Hey, Tanzania. Thanks for joining me today. I'm getting over a cold. I don't think it's a cold. It started off, I caught that little bug. But I think this is allergies. When I get out of here today, I'm going to go get some Flonase and some Claritin. I forgot I'm back in Atlanta, and all of you all's allergens drive me crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, for me. You know, it's just like that. But, you know, it's neither here nor there. But I thought that was interesting. Other countries are beginning to say the quiet part out loud. This is giving the KGB leverage over their countries. And they're saying, not here you won't. The prime minister can go. We'll get another one. Yeah. Or this dignitary, or that dignitary, or I don't care who they are. Crown Prince, you can go. Many foreign leaders and dignitaries are biting the dust. But here in America, we have Mitch McConnell, obstructionist Mitch. I'm gonna hang that around his neck till he dies. Obstructionist Mitch, who decided that you would keep Obama from being able to rightfully select his own Supreme Court justice. But anyway, we'll get back to that. Actually said that, well, if we prosecuted or fired everyone on the Trump administration that's in the Epstein files, He would only have 3 people left in his administration. And drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. Oh, that's right, I forgot. You all are so hypocritical. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. You only want to drain the swamp if you could come out there and present the Clintons. Are they in there 38,000 times? 38,000. Wow. 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 Anyway, they're being caught up in lies. And Sweden, let's see, what is this? Swedish citizen, Daniel Task Force is hearing Daniel Amar, Siad. There are so many. And these are like wealthy people all over the world. It's insane. The magnitude of this thing is insane. And behind it is leverage for someone. Who do you think on the international stage is carrying that leverage against the U.S. right now? Meanwhile, in America, KKK, like I said, Mitch McConnell said, we can't do that. That would be everybody. Well, maybe we should start right there. Why is it everyone in your administration is in the Epstein files? Let's start right there. Right there. Wow. The Trumpstein files show that Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, visited Epstein's Petal Island and was in business with the notorious sex trafficker. Surprise, surprise. Another high-ranking member of the Trump administration. Lutnick told the media that after touring Epstein's home in 2005, he decided, I'll never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. The two had houses next door to each other after Epstein sold the building to an entity called Comet Trust, which sold the building to Lutnick. He must have changed his mind because emails starting in 2011 show that the two were in friendly contact. In 2012, Lutnick was invited to lunch, and Epstein's assistant wrote on behalf of Epstein, "It was a nice seeing you." Lutnick and his family visited Epstein's Petal Island together, according to emails. 4 days later, the two would be in business together, acquiring stakes in a failed advertising technology company called Adfin. In 2017, Epstein donated $50,000 to a dinner in honor of Lutnick. In 2018, Lutnick emailed Epstein to whine about an expansion plan for their neighboring Frick Collection Art Museum, warning Epstein that the new building might block your sunlight and views. You should put in a letter. I'm sending a lawyer. Yeah. So it seems like they were pretty friendly. Years and years after the Epstein was convicted of sex crimes, okay? And we're going to get to those sex crimes that Epstein was convicted of. Because, you have to excuse me, I have to criticize this, drive me crazy. Because Epstein had a case in Florida when Pam Bondi was the attorney general there. Okay? He was convicted. And the sweetheart deal he got was like, it's what pedophiles usually get and incest people, which is insane. This kind of crime. So you gave Joe Schmo 10 years because he's a user of crack. You caught him with enough for using. He basically is doing his life. But this pedo destroyed a human being. And you said, bad boy, don't do it again. That's basically what Pam Bondi and him did to Epstein the first time. And he served a pittance of time in one of those cushy jails like they got Ghislaine Maxwell in right now, where he was actually on work release. He's a sex trafficker. What job is he doing while he's on release? Imagine how his victims felt. His rich, powerful buddies just let him out. And see, the thing that gets me is how many girls were molested between then and now. Y'all own it. You had him. You could have done something about this years ago. But it was an FBI thing as well. I'm going to get to all of that. Because now we're finding that these files were redacted by the FBI before they ever got to the AG, which is against the law. They're supposed to have the unredacted version. It's not online. In fact, things right now are disappearing even as we speak. But bless God, I'm trying to tell you, it's going to come. I don't know where it's going to come from. Because God got a sense of humor. Just when you think you done scrubbed it and washed it, they done said, it'll be some little nobody. Like, what was the lady name that had all the shoes and all the barcodes? Big people like me don't pay taxes. You little people do. And it was her maid that did her in. It'll be something that small. Somebody got a zip drive. Oh, I downloaded that with it first. Here it is. Oh, no, I'm going to release it right to the everywhere. God got a sense of humor, I'm trying to tell you. Or it'll be somebody like Trump releasing it himself accidentally. You have to excuse me. It's cold. It's terrible. But yeah. Anyway, there are calls for Lutnick to resign immediately. He's lied to the American people and profited from his relationship with one of the vilest sex criminals the world has ever seen. Drain the swamp. Meanwhile, I have gained a newfound respect for Representative Ted Lieu. His calm, precise, measured, no-nonsense demeanor, responses, insistence that justice be equitably applied in any other way is injustice. The Representative Ted Lieu blasted Trump's DOJ for fixating on the Clintons. First of all, let's begin with that. While documents accuse Trump of raping and threatening to murder children in the Epstein files. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are not accused in the Epstein files of raping and threatening to kill children. Donald Trump is. Donald Trump has been charged with and found guilty in a sexual assault case. It wouldn't be a leap. Anywho, he further went on to say that they have agreed to testify before the House as part of the Oversight Committee's investigation. Their ties to Epstein ending in contempt threats that had been looming over them. So why are Republicans so focused on Bill and Hillary? Just to try to take the smoke off of Trump. 38,000? Good try. It won't work. See, the number, you just can't get rid of it. Even the redactions are telling. You had to put that many redactions in, and yet and still you release the names of the victims. Top-notch work. DOJ, FBI, Patel, and Bondi. Top-notch work. The California Democrat asked at a press conference, it's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump appears in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there are extremely disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children and of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I urge the press to go examine these allegations. And I'm deeply disturbed, he further went on to say, that the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche completely got the law wrong. Yesterday, he basically said it's not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. That is actually false, he said. If Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize that event, yes, you are guilty, because patronizing is covered under the federal sex trafficking statute. Finally, someone who actually knows the law, Pamela. So the Deputy Todd Blanche got that wrong. which may explain why they aren't investigating all of these individuals, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for failing to understand the law, but for a massive, not just screw up, but the largest privacy violation in history. They released numerous photos of minors without redactions, violated the privacy of these girls. You redacted the names of the perpetrators. Make sure you got them out of there, but not the girls. That is completely unacceptable. The one thing they absolutely could not do under this law was invade the privacy of these women, who were girls at the time and victims of sex trafficking. He also met with Ghislaine Maxwell and moved her to a minimum security prison, the president now, and then got her a puppy. For all of those reasons, he needs to leave the Department of Justice. It's astonishing there isn't more media focus on the terrifying allegations against Donald Trump. They own all of the news media now. So we don't even get our news from the news media anymore. We don't even watch it. I just watch the internet to see what's going on, pull it from here and there. I'll Google different things and find out where it's at. Because nobody's going to wait till 6 o'clock for you to tell that same old bland whitewashed lie. I'll have more facts by the time it even gets to your news cycle. Anyway, so it's astonishing that there's more media focus on it. And urgency at all from Republicans who spent the last 4 years obsessing over the Epstein files. Now that Trump is implicated, their interest has waned, vanished. Except when it comes to Bill Clinton, who should still be held accountable. Absolutely. Let's bring them all out. Because you ain't going to bring Bill if you don't bring Donald. That's what we're saying. Matter of fact, bring them both the same day. Let's see who has to testify longer. Anyway, so he said the hypocrisy is completely out of control. Well, unfortunately for this gentleman, being black in America, we are all too familiar with these hypocrisies. It is standard operating procedure, business as usual. It's just on the forefront now. And these cameras have made it visible, where it can no longer be denied and lied. Because I'm telling you, Pam Bondi went full out Karen yesterday. It was hilarious to see. I fell out laughing. She carried the place up. And I said, soon to be followed by Becky tears, I'm sure. Calling people names. She was so unprofessional. It was hilarious. And just the usual stuff you get from this administration. It was hilarious. Anyway, the FBI redacted Epstein files before the DOJ saw them. And now they have dossiers that they're profiling and stacking on these people that were questioning them, so they could try to pull them apart and ruin their characters. If I can't find something, I'll make something up or insinuate something. Instead of addressing the 38,000 times this man's name is in the Epstein files. Because if your name is in there 38,000 times, it should be called Trumpstein. You like to put your name on everything else. You win the award for the man with the biggest mention in the Epstein files. Okay, I got to get you an award. Okay, I don't have anything. Here's Donald Trump's new award for being mentioned the most in the Epstein files. There you go. There's your award. And you really won that one. Now that one is yours legally. No one can take it from you. You really want to say that the redactions they were done illegally. The DOJ reportedly received the files from the FBI that were already redacted, and they remain that way. That's illegal. The DOJ is required to receive unredacted material from both the FBI and the grand jury before determining what, if anything, can be withheld. That means someone upstream. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining me. And my happy Valentine's Day. That means someone upstream made the call to hide information. Kash Patel. Who was it in the FBI that decided all this should be redacted before it goes anywhere? Except for the victims' names and some addresses. Some of them, even their maiden names. That means someone upstream made the call to hide information before the DOJ would ever have happened. 2, 6 incriminated men were redacted. Massey says the names and photos of 6 men who were likely incriminated were redacted from the public release. Not rumors, not speculation, actual names and images removed. Who are these men? Massey says he'll reveal them to the public. The missing files, still reading, good because this is the part. Because I just couldn't, I had to get that because it's like, that should stop you cold. Should that stop you cold? Because I'm like, still here. I'm like, okay, who are they? Now, I don't know if this guy could tell us, because if they were redacted before, he can't tell us nothing. What are you going to tell me? You going to tell me something? Can you prove it? See, that's the part I'm saying. They took all this out before it got here. Someone gave them the order to take that out. So where was the original? And is their original still there? Or has it just disappeared into the land of La La Land? Still with me? Hold on, there's more. Even those supposedly pulled to protect victims were never put back. Not even with redactions. They're simply missing. Gone. No public explanation. No paper trail. No accountability. But God, He don't like ugly. You can try all you want, but He'll bring it to light. He'll bring to light what's hidden in the dark. You do know that, right? Try as hard as you might. It's going to be some way. It's going to come. You can't stop it. You want to stop it? You want to get into heaven like you were saying? Because we know you're dying. Admit what you did. That's your entrance in. Come and tell the truth. Admit what you did. You can't? Okay, well, just take it to the grave with you then. And there's a reason MAGA ain't freaking out about it. As you can see, just one MAGA the other day shot and killed his daughter because she came against Trump approving pedophilia. And she asked him point blank, how would you feel if it was your daughter? If it was me? His response to her is, I got 2 other daughters. That's a Trumpite. Yeah. Killed his daughter. Walked in and shot her in the chest. Because she dared speak against his furor. That's a MAGA. They're not freaking out. This right up their alley. It's still definitely a bit related to the fact that they're a cult. What happens in cults? Now, most cults that you see the cult, what happens in the cult? Doesn't the leader eventually end up sleeping with all the young girls? Doesn't he? All the cults you've seen, I don't know why it always ends up there, because that's probably where the pervert was in the first place. They end up marrying 6 and 7 white young girls. I'm just saying, that's where cults, well, anyway, they usually lead there. Wow. But the problem is, I believe that a lot of them are absolutely quite all right with pedophilia. Because they're trying to normalize and lower the ages of consent to ages like 14 and 13. Wow, you're pedophiles and you're groomers and you're disgusting. And you can't handle an adult. So that's telling. Someone with intelligence, intellect, knowledge, understanding, wisdom to know better, things like that. Wow, that you are a total loser and to keep walking. A young girl, might not know all that. It's not just an opinion. Look at everything you see going on. They defended Matt Gaetz, even though evidence was undeniable, that he paid underage prostitutes for sex. He just sent them money for ice cream, right? Okay. Their elected representatives also repeatedly refused to outlaw child marriage. Routinely, Republican officials refused to outlaw child marriage. Those are the same folks who want to force children to give birth to their rapist babies. They also fight for laws that are proven to reduce teen pregnancy. I guess birth control is out of question. I don't know. If you want to raise your child, that abstinence is the best choice in policy. I agree. Abstinence is the best. But that being said, children are foolish and make mistakes. And AIDS seems a bit stiff of a penalty for something a condom would have fixed. For you to make a better decision and choice tomorrow. So, suffice it to say, we don't all agree on methodology. You are welcome to raise your children how you see fit. Others are welcome to raise their children as Buddhists, as whatever they see fit. Well, you want to own their kids too? I have never seen God do this nonsense or prove it. Wow. And guess which states, are most active in the beauty pageants? Guess which ones? You guessed it. Red states. Those child beauty pageants. Anyway. Wow. In fact, guess what party? The guy who wanted to make Trump derangement syndrome. Remember that word, that term? Trump derangement syndrome. He wanted to make it a thing. His name is Justin Eichhorn. He wanted to make it a recognized mental illness. When it's actually just the opposite. But anyway. Right before he was arrested for soliciting a minor. And what party does Andrew Paul Johnson, January 6th terrorist, belong to? Would it help if I told you that he was just convicted of multiple counts of child molestation and exposing himself to kids? Guess who pardoned him this year? A year ago. Spoiler alert. Yeah, Trump. So we've already established the right wing, is supportive of pedophilia. The right wing is supportive of pedophilia. Your actions are speaking louder than your words. You're just giving lip service. Most sex offenders who target youth, they actually share a very common trait. They actually have a low intelligence quotient. And I'm not saying that, they're like that because they're born that way. And that's what, no. It just means they're either unlearned, they don't study, their reasoning and deductive reasoning. That's how people get into cults. They're manipulative. Their minds are more malleable. They don't have the sturdiness and the stability of someone with a strong constitution. That's how they get into cults. Because I can't imagine some man talking me into letting him screw me and my child with your ignorant behind. Because all those little girls that were on those islands had mamas. And we'll get to them later. So we've established that the right wing is quite supportive of pedophilia. Wow. But that would mean that educating oneself helps to overcome this sort of thing. Why do you think it's wrong for a man in his 30s to have sex with a 13 and 14-year-old, sir? And a 15-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Do you need us to spell it out for you? We can. We'll give it to you in bullets, if you like. a PowerPoint presentation. This is why pedophilia is bad. Anyway, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she admitted under oath that her DOJ hired a January 6th traitor, that's who he was, who yelled, "Kill them," at police during the insurrection. They're so pro-police. If you wanted to snap, and it was really weird because at first she tried to get around it. She had to admit it. Yeah. Wow. That was in a jaw-dropping exchange the other day. Neguse played police body cam footage from January 6th showing a man screaming, "Yeah, kill him, kill him." And that was the guy. Wow. And he looked at her and said calmly, "That man works for you now, right?" After a moment of confusion, Bondi admitted it. Yes, Jared Weiss, a man indicted on multiple felonies, but he was pardoned. That didn't mean he wasn't guilty. He was pardoned, and you didn't turn around and hide him. Wow. I believe he was pardoned. She was on full-blown Karen. I believe he was. How dare you question me? He was pardoned. You're a wannabe attorney. He has more education than you and more credentials than you. You fake wannabe. Anyway, let that sink in. A man caught on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers is now employed by the very department charged with upholding the law. And the Attorney General of the United States wouldn't even condemn it. That's how low we've sunk, America. This is the cesspool you're in. Drain the swamp. It's starting to reek. And pretty soon, you know what happens when the swamp overflows its banks? Infestation comes. Sickness, pestilence, disease, death. Anywho. Wow. He said further, the gutting of the Justice Department's Public Integrity Section. The office created under Gerald Ford after Watergate to fight corruption in government. We'll have none of that Watergate again. Not this time around. Get rid of the whole organization. Get rid of the whole department. Put that money back in the coffers to disappear. Have y'all seen the money that's going out? Just going out. Anyway, that's your money. Wow. It was funny. I watched it. She was trying to dodge. And it was actually hilarious. You have to go back and watch it if you didn't watch all of it. Anyway, he ended up saying this isn't law and order. It's lawlessness at the very top. Wow. Yeah, it was. Wow. Anyway, he said, Lubin said, "I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files." Here's a video Lou said during a hearing of the House Judiciary Committee before playing a clip of Trump and Epstein laughing, chatting, dancing, and eyeing up girls together. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein, said Lou. "I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein? This is so ridiculous that they are trying to deflect from all the great things." This is what Pam Bondi said in response. The Dow's at 50,000. What? Okay, a lawyer would know that's non-responsive. The Dow's at 50,000. I kid you not. They asked her questions that pointed at this, and she came back with stuff. And let me say, there's no greater man than Donald Trump. He has the Dow at 50,000. Yeah, but like I said, there's evidence in the files where people have accused Donald Trump. We don't care about the Dow. What about the people that accused him of rape? She went on to her whole performance. It was incredible to watch. I kid you not. So I said next to follow will be Becky Tears, because we had the full blown Karen mode. It was hilarious. Of course, they went back and forth with reclaiming my time. It was funny. She's so used to being the everything, she couldn't handle the fact that she couldn't tell people what to do. And he was like, no, I'm reclaiming my time. It was funny. It was absolutely telling and embarrassing. You people should be ashamed of yourselves. And you should be embarrassed and humiliated. I know if Barack Obama and Michelle Obama had done these things, as Michelle Obama's naked butt was all over the internet, and, you know, pictures of her sexually posed with another woman, I would be kind of low-key embarrassed about that. If, you know, Barack Obama was on the pedophile island, I may be kind of low-key, you know, kind of embarrassed about that. Wow. Anyway, she had a whole bunch of fake indignation. We just rolled right through that. They just rolled right over and said, anyhow, you haven't answered the question. The question is, I'm going to... And then Jasmine Crockett got on there and didn't even bother to ask her. She said, well, since I know you're not going to answer the question, you're going to deflect. And I don't care what the Dow is. I want the questions answered. I brought some with me who could answer. So question is, la da 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 da. Did you do that? Yes, she did. Wow. Anyway, he said, and this is the key point that I'm trying to nail home. This is a threat to national security. This man can be blackmailed by anyone who has that information. And that should concern every American. What will he give up? What will he do? What would he give to keep it from coming out? Wow. He said, I'm going to put out another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath, he said. Because she said there wasn't ample evidence in the Epstein files to cause us to have to investigate Trump. So Lou said, no, I'm going to put another document from a witness. And he brought another document that says, I believe you just lied under oath. There was ample evidence. I'll bring it to you. She said that, don't you ever accuse me of a crime. She tried to shout him down. It wasn't working. This man had steely resolve. You can carry it all you want. You done? Now, as I was saying, true, he just went on. She tried to summon her righteous indignation. He says, clear this woman knows that she's in the wrong, but she's so committed to her own career and power, she doesn't care. He said, I believe you just lied under oath. And this is all on videotape. See, she doesn't understand. They're cat and mouthing you right now. Every little thing. And you said there was no credible reason to investigate him? All right. I believe you just lied under oath. You swore an oath when you sat down here. Let's go to the next thing. He said, you said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, said Lou, presenting a document. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Continued Lou. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. He went on. So you just lied under oath. You need to interview this witness immediately, with follow-up and follow-through and investigation of what happened to that young lady. You want to drain the swamp? Law and order? Or is it just poor white people you don't care about? Is it poor white girls you don't care about? They're expendable. You can just burn them and churn them. Is that what it is? I'm not sure. But Lou went on to say Epstein should rot in hell. Well, he's probably already there. Don't worry about it. He's got plenty that are going to join him. Summing up your righteous indignation, Miss Bondi, was only play acting. Wow. So should the man who patronized this operation, and as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Wow. Wow. He went on to say, shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes. She don't have no decency because she didn't. She just went in full Karen mode and blamed the whole world. The same hypocrisy. Wow. Wow. And of course you saw, I hope you all saw, the part where they had the Epstein survivors in the hearing room, standing directly behind Pam Bondi. She couldn't even dare to have the decency to turn around and look at them. She saw theater to her. See, that's an old thing where they say, don't let the opposing counsel put the weapon in your hand on the stand because you'll look guilty. It's not about looking guilty. It's about doing what is right. Was it that you can no longer tell the difference? I know you've all seen the great gold god that they had put up for you to worship. Yes. Have you seen it, Paula White? Have you preached on it and taught on it in your evangelical churches? Since white churches and black churches are different. I just love that man. It was so embarrassing. He was trying to defend white culture to a white man. And a white man asked him, well, what exactly is white culture? It was funny. He said, well, our food is different. Their food is different. And he said, so how is their food being different, their church being different? How is any of that hindering you from continuing inside your culture? How is black churches hindering you from going to a white church? How is black food hindering you from eating your white food? How is any of their culture hindering you? First of all, ain't nobody making you eat it, go to their church, or listen to their music. How is any of that hurting white culture because your children are rejecting your washed down, whitewashed, mayonnaise culture, what other culture? That's not our fault. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know why they don't like your culture. Maybe you should take a look at your culture. I'm not sure what your culture is. It was the funniest thing. He was actually trying to defend his position. Why black people and brown people are causing white people to feel discriminated against, their culture and habit. It was the funniest thing ever. Ever, ever, ever. They asked her to turn around and apologize to the women. She couldn't do that. She went on to state, wow, these victims have been harmed. And it was just unbelievable. She deflected, covered up. Hey, buddy, thanks for joining me. I'm about to get out of here. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I'm getting over a cold. I think it's allergies. Deflected, lied, blah, blah, blah. But it was just incredible. And she went in full Karen mode, just disgusting, unprofessional, ridiculous. Theatrics. America is at a crossroads. We're not in need of theatrics right now, honey. Because if you don't get it together soon, it's going to be a death blow. You can't keep pushing out all this ugly. Think nothing ain't ever going to come back. Until next week, y'all. Y'all be safe out here. It's all these renaissance. I'm out of here. And remember, happy Valentine's Day. In spite of it all, there'll be more to come. Bye, y'all.